Welcome, everybody, to Shitstorm 2017. We have correspondents from around the U.S. at this point. I don't think we have any from any overseas locations, but we have the U.S. set up pretty geographically well. We have the East Coast, we have the Northern Midwest, we got all the way down in South Florida. We got the border covered in case there's a wall going up. Um, and I'm on the central east coast at this point in time. So hopefully the eye of the storm has passed us by, but you can join us and be a correspondent and see how everything's going in your neighborhood. Um,
I am on the West Coast, by the way.
yeah, I know. I mentioned you
I,
first, Brian.
I heard East Coast. I'm sorry.
No. Okay. Okay.
Nope.
Oh,
I'm done. It's
there
been
we
a
go.
great day.
We're getting additional correspondence in. But again, it appears that the eye of the storm is passing us by at this point with the latest set of updates. But I'll go ahead and start introducing people. From left to right, it's the Holsch, back in school at this point and rejoining us. How are you
Woo!
doing,
About
Holsch?
to get hit by a hurricane. Yay.
There we go. Especially after what happened today in the game. And then the Northman,
Hello, guys.
Magic Mike,
Howdy doody.
Mary, Senior Daniel,
Hello, everyone.
Two Doors,
Science.
and this is Hefe. So, the game has been. I haven't seen the game this broken in a long time. A lot of the fixes have gone out, but I've been hearing in from people that the bounty is not awarding points correctly, and I'm sure there's a whole other bunch of issues. We've had the issues with the channel defenses automatically. Well, I found out later they're trying to build health. They've been built with 0 health, and so as soon as you refresh, it's spending the time to give them health at the beginning. If you're able to file a ticket. They will give you gold to cover that. Then we had the issue inside of the docks today, where originally that people were coining repairs, and it was take the gold but not repair anything. Then they took away our speed up option away, and the ability to cancel a repair also disappeared for a while, but I think that is back. All of the updates that were supposed to go in the Retro Lab didn't go in till fairly recently, so I haven't a chance to review all of them. And I'm sure there's a lot of things I'm missing, because there's a lot of things that were messed up today, but it appears that a lot of them are being fixed. I'm sure there's things out there. We won't try to dwell on this, but we're well aware of this, and we can bring up things that are still problematic in the game. But I'd sort of like to, after we get through with that, sort of push forward and go through the new blueprints that we've seen, and and the channel defenses and things of that nature. So how's everybody doing? Mary, I've seen you on the global leaderboards. It looks like you're already participating in bounty.
Yeah, but now I'm not getting any bounty.
Okay.
And my actual amount in my base is showing different than the leaderboards.
Okay.
So I have no idea what's going on. I sent the ticket in, so.
Yeah, seconded. I just looked. I have about 100 something more than I should.
Okay.
And locator's not working either.
Oh, lovely.
I mean, unless it's restricted to just like the 2 or 3 sectors in that little area that we're in.
Probably. That's how it's...
Boom. Yeah, I just got to mention that all the ships in storage disappeared. I haven't even looked at my storage. Is anybody else
Checking now.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and we have a.
Mine are here.
Okay.
Mine aren't gone. So.
Yeah, things seem to get really wonky from after the release until about an hour ago, and things started to come back. So.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay.
And it's weird because this, supposed to come out on Tuesday. They delayed the release. We weren't really given a whole lot. It's the next day, the next day, the next day. And it eventually comes up on Friday. And that makes sense. The big update is when the thing starts, It's not exactly like a raid. They don't have a preset, I guess, template in place for this sort of thing. So they had to put in some extra work, and then it got delayed by another 3 hours, and it's still not working when it comes out.
Yeah, and I think a big reason for this is they really pushed releasing so much stuff. And can somebody mute whatever is going on there? Sounds like a kid or something. You don't have to slap them, but at least mute them when they're not talking. But they released so many things at one time. I mean, they could have released the channel defenses last week. They could have at least put in place the changes that happened to your dock as far as the second repair queue. At least put it in there, not give you the ability to use it, but make that change at that point. I don't know, maybe even, add the things to the retrofit lab and then add the bounty in. I mean, it seems like they released so many moving parts this week that it had to be expected that something like this was going to happen.
And it's probably impossible for them to figure out exactly what caused the problem because there were so many moving parts released all at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, but they have fixed a bunch of them. But it seems like there's still issues with the bounty because that's been the most recent thing released. So, does anybody have anything they want to throw in now, or should I can start showing some slides?
I think it's good that they fucked up. I expected them to fuck up, and they do fuck up. And in a way, they push out so many different stuff, and they do all this at once. And everybody that knows Kixeye know how this game works. They know that shit will happen when they do this, and still they do that. And I wonder, are they going to stay at Kixeye office now all the week and try to figure this out, or are they going to wait till Monday to fix all this shit?
Yeah, they've got about another hour PST in the offices. But I agree. I mean, I expected there to be issues, some exploits they haven't thought of, some things that didn't make exactly clear. And, that's up here, that's what I like to call about a reasonable standard. And kind of down here is where my kick standards are hovering. Like there's a basement here, there's maybe a sub basement and like a secret passage, and it's about down here. And
Yeah.
it's not easy, but it's your job. Guys, come on. It's your job.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. My guess is somebody above the people that are actually coding this and designing this came up with the idea to release all this stuff simultaneously.
Yeah, they need to aim higher when they look for faults some nights.
Yeah.
And also a point I want to take up is that 2 or 3 months ago, this new dude from Kixeye came on to the PvE show and said, "Hey, we're gonna give you an extra dock and whatnot." He didn't want to say what it was, but he was giving the players an opportunity. But where is that? He brings out the bounty, he brings out the channel defense. Just a bunch of bullshit that we have not really wanted. The only thing that we wanted for years is maybe a Dr. refit and whatnot. And he came on and said, "Hey, we are going to give you that," but we have not heard anything for months. So it's typical Kixeye, and we heard it so many times before. And people are dropping from playing because they just add new stuff all the time, new ships, new click to the end ships to kill bases. It's nothing. It's nothing about skills anymore. If you have the coin, if you want the coin, you can coin the rage, and you can just run through bases, and it's nothing to do with the gameplay whatsoever.
Well, that's the thing. They call it a pendulum back and forth, but it's more like a switch. That it's a binary state. It's on or off, and it's in favor of offense or defense. And between the Muddle Missile and the Inquisitor and the Rages, there's so many things brought out that we don't necessarily have proper defense for yet, or we haven't had time to build proper defense because we still have to build for raids. Like that's still a thing.
Yeah.
That
and refit.
I'm a little upset that they released it now when things are so far in the attacker's favor, especially given these rages. Like I got hit by a few rages that were kind of crappy, but one Inquisitor with some Muddle Missiles that could knock out my Harlock's Alpha from outside of the channel because that's how far the spread and splash goes. Like there's so many just compounding mistakes that lead it in favor of the offense. And I can sort of see like why they would do that to make it feel good for the attackers. It's just, you're going to be on the defense sometime too. And without necessary tools or like a lot of different strats, it's really hard to actually defend your base now. I'm done talking. Oh. Hello?
Yeah,
I thought I killed it, and then I thought I froze.
It's just no one's talking now. Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about the rages as well. I mean, we've had those times where we've had a hole where all you had to do was just hit the back of the base, and that's it. And the rages seemed like one of those holes.
I mean, it's interesting because they did the whole rivals thing and, such complexity and all that, and such possibly screwing up in the mechanics because they're introducing so many new parts. Then they said they were going to reduce complexity, and they gave us the rages, and that certainly does reduce complexity. But with that particular hole, there's a couple of issues, mostly being there's the massive splash damage reduction bonus if you have a fleet, and the fact that most of our defenses are splash weapons, and the hyenas, which aren't, you can snipe out against with like you hit them and then they get their overload and then they have 80,000 pen deflection and it doesn't matter what you do. And then at the end, you're shrouded for 15 seconds so you're untargetable. So your high splash is reduced by another 50%. And then when they get low, they just run in and kill you and you can't even target them. But they still have a high splash damage reduction, so even if you don't get them all shrouded at the same time or thereabouts for some reason, they still have a good amount of time, 15 seconds, where they can run in and kill you. And it's a difficult problem to solve. And one of the strange things is the things they're releasing now are supposed to solve the problem, but there's still a problem we can't solve because we don't have the tech. Like, did they watch a Doctor Who episode and think that was okay? Did they watch Blink? Did they think it was back in time? Because I don't know. It's weird.
Well, look, from a business standpoint, right, this is how you want to do it. You want to have the attackers have the advantage, right? The only thing I don't like is that the solution to that advantage is having the advantage in the first place. That's the catch.
Yeah, you need the defensive advantage to keep hold of your bounty so that you can get
you can just keep your crap dead while you know. Why is there a shrouded mortar in here? What the hell is going on? Sorry, I'm trying to do my FM and there's a mortar that's just that didn't exist before that's there now.
Oh, the FM is back? Okay.
Yeah, the FM's back.
I'm
But yeah,
gonna
like
chalk that one up to the Borked FM.
I mean, I just, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff with this I like. There's a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, this can be taken advantage of, right? But like, I don't know. I have to give it a little bit more to figure this out because I'm still iffy. Like, I got hit an hour before the bounty started. Someone took my advice and hit me.
That's funny.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it works. I'm not in bounty. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's some stuff. Even if they had the solution out for the rages, right? To do this successfully from a business standpoint, they would have to have the advantage still in the attacker's hands. Because what you want to do is you want them to be on the map. You want them to map repair while their base is dead. And, you know, if you're hitting, you want to hit enough bases where your 20% loss is not going to be a big loss of the stuff that you just got, because you want your hits, and you know, you assume that it's going to be 2 hits, and you want that net gain to be more each time you come in and start repairing your base. You know, I mean, it's a tough thing to set up. I'm curious to see how it works.
Okay. Anybody have anything else, or should I start slides up?
What do you want
Slides?
to slide up?
Slides, yeah. Well, we got a ton of new blueprints that have been released recently.
Yep. A lot of stuff. Did they get everything in the retro lab yet?
Yeah, around 6 o'clock. That's why I didn't look into it. Once we get to that slide, all it is a retro lab and a bunch of question marks with what they gave in the preview. Some boring bug fixes from the original release. There's 2 set of bug fixes. That badge issue that we've talked about before doesn't keep me up at night. And a vague thing about people were unable to log into the game due to an SOS, but it's not enough detail to make any sense out of. Corrected problems were reward screens showing improperly. I don't know what that means.
I'm curious. Did we ever get the answer to the whole secured, unsecured, who's a viable target thing?
I'm assuming it's the way it's written, and they just don't want to talk about it. I mean, it seems like if it's, I don't know that we've got a direct answer on it. Maybe once we progress through the, because right now, if you were on earlier, people's bounty points aren't matching up like what's on the leaderboard, and there's all sorts of larger issues, and it might be a day or two until we figure that out. Until we know exactly what's going on, because the points aren't being doled out correctly at this point.
Good grief.
Corrected error portals becoming destroyed if you left your base and returned while they were building. Yeah, I got a response from customer support. They have 1 million armor points, and they were actually built with none. So I think I have it somewhere in the slides. It was a 9-hour repair, but it actually repaired over a period of 4 hours, but it listed it as a 9-hour repair, which...
What?
Yeah, it asked for it in 18 coins and said it was a 9-hour repair, but mine's on pace to repair over the course of 4 hours.
So they did watch a Doctor Who episode.
They could have.
Or they're traveling really, really fast over there, like significant portions of the speed of light, and the time dilation will make it seem, 4 hours for one of us is 9 hours for the other, and that sort of jazz.
Yeah, didn't that come up the other day?
Oops, I guess I didn't correct corrected error of certain NPC targets not displaying properly. I did hear something where I think the sprite for something wasn't showing up after these are all after the update. And then corrected new items not appearing in the retrofit lab. That's working now. There's some additional bugs out there like the Courage VXP tokens. According to Laredo in the forums, we do have all those. Tokens. They just aren't being displayed yet for some reason. And there's a whole bunch of other things that we sort of got taken care of at the beginning of the show.
Good grief.
Here's the bounty store. If you want an explanation of the bounty, there's been multiple shows on that, and since it only started about an hour ago, I don't know that we have any new information besides what we gave earlier, where how broken it is.
I have one thing to say.
Sure, go ahead.
For whenever you're earning points, like with your outpost, the regeneration, it only works without a bubble, it seems, because mine's not gaining any. I'm in a bubble and it's not destroyed.
Yeah,
Oh,
Confirmed.
That's not really. I thought that's not how that was going to work.
If you have a bubble, you are not generating bounty.
Yeah, I thought
Oh my
GDA said that in the
goodness.
show last night. Yeah, if you have a bubble, you're not generating your bounty.
I mean, it makes some sense, I guess. That's your penalty. But doesn't mean I like it.
Alrighty. Items priced. Oh, how much are you getting? You're getting 1,000?
500.
500.
You start with 500, and you
Okay.
can get. So it's doubled reverse. You got early on about like 700 something like that a day, but it would double up to. Okay, so you got about 550 a day at level 1, I think, but you could upgrade your outpost to give you more and more, and each time it would double. And I think at max it's about 4,400 a day.
Okay.
Let's say. So that's, do that math.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, here's the 750s. So you would still have to do something. You couldn't just go in there and, like, I think we were originally told, even if you didn't participate, even if you suck, you were going to get something. And I know I have all of these things on the left-hand side, with the exception of the 12-hour ship build token. But if you start off at 500, it still appears that you need to be doing something, as far as I know. You need to even earn any of these things. And we'll get to the details of the new blueprints in a minute. But the Insurrection launcher, Vision full mode, I mean, it's okay, but we'll compare it to Atomic Focus, and it's not a huge world difference. Axiom chain gun turret is sort of interesting because it does appear to overcome a lot of deflections. The concussive belt, which is a special that helps the chain gun turret. Skins, and then the courage. And you can only own 2 courages at maximum. And I guess you need to do fairly well and collect a fair amount of bounty to earn this. And since we're assuming this is a zero-sum game, where people are generating bounty with their through their outpost, but there won't be like whatever somebody gains, somebody else is losing. So they know the whole economy of what percentage, is it 10% or whatnot, because that's pretty much going to be locked in, the potential percentage of people that are going to win the courage.
Well, that depends on how many people actually engage in the game.
But I'm saying the percentage of them. Most
Well,
likely.
no, but George is right too, because the
Yeah,
percentage of people in the game that engage in bounty directly affect the initial amount of bounty in the pool, as well as the rate that the bounty increases based on each individual, their outpost, their bounty, etc.
and how long they're in a bubble.
Well, I mean, and the other thing, I mean, that's why I was saying the other day, I'm like, have everybody that has an alt, like everybody that has an alt, log the hell in. Because if you have 30,000 alts in this thing, that's going to skew how many people are going to be able to get the bounty, get the, whatchamacallit, courage. Thank you.
My alt's not level 50, though.
I see this as a just...
There's a way to correct that.
Oh, yeah, I know. You say that.
Oh, leveling systems. How are you working every game but this one?
When you look at this bounty setup, and you can see that already we have like the Forsaken mission, you have to do that to get the prizes. Now they just added another thing that in a way you need to get the prizes. And in my opinion, this has nothing to do with PvP. This is just a way for Kickside to try to press more coin out of you. And if we have a divide with the high-level players, mid-level and low-level, this is just another attempt or a fact that it will actually bring more divide and more difference between the players. And in a way, my opinion, in a way, this is just killing the game because there are too many things that you have to participate in. You have all the stuff in PvE, and now they try to control how we do PvP also with adding these prices here. You can see at this ship now with the radioactive deflection of 66,000. That means this is this is the weapon to stop the Rage fleet. And,
would you rather this not exist in Rage and Mud Inquisitor fleets run the day? Like, they got to do something.
I don't think this is the way to go.
Yeah, does it necessarily have to be tied to the PvP stuff? I mean, with one regard, I can see, yes, it's tied to PvP because that's what it is. On the other hand, though, is base defense. There's a lot of people that don't partake in PvP that do take care of their bases because there's repercussions if you get leveled, right?
Everybody needs base defense.
So that's kind of like, that's another one that's I'm kind of on the border. I'm on the fence about. I mean, I don't know. I can make an argument either way. I just think that, I mean, there could have been a different way to do this. I really do hope though that we're not waiting for 4 weeks for this hull to show up for the rest of the players.
I'm assuming about 6 weeks.
Yeah, see, that's too much.
I have no faith, and I am assuming. Let's see. Courage is 9 days blank, right? No, about 6 weeks. By the time you could probably get both done, I imagine it'd be around. So probably, 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, but they're pushing people to the edge with, I mean, the 3 month raid cycle, and then having, because I haven't even finished my justice. And now we already got another one coming out because we have a 3 week raid cycle, and we don't have time to
escalation weapons.
Add in the escalation weapons, and basically your shipyard is 90%, 85 to 90% devoted to, and I'm not even building the Skyfires along with the Phoenixes. I mean, I built one Skyfire, but they have created a situation where they want us to participate in this PvP thing, but between the escalation weapons and the 3 month raid cycle, there's no time left in your dock.
Well, it's hopeless.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm always late on Friday evenings because I'm coming home from work. But what about the advantage that some players get by getting the 2,500 coins for $99 instead of giving it to everybody? That's an advantage.
Yeah.
You pay for that advantage.
Yeah, but you pay for everything when you coin, but you get twice what you normally would get. Now, I'd like to have that extra 1,250 coins right now. I could finish out my raid fleet and then go out and hit bases.
Yeah,
Wait,
my
you got
offer
that-
was for $5.
Yeah,
Mine
mine
was
was
for
like
$5.
$5. You get
Yeah.
that for 100?
Ron, what are you talking about?
It was a separate offer that some people got.
Some people. I'd like to see the list of what entitled them to have that offer and not us.
What was the offer again? I'm sorry.
What was the offer? Yeah, that's what I want to.
It was 2,500 coins for $99.95.
2,500. Okay.
That's double what you get for buying $100 worth normally.
Okay.
You normally get $12.50.
Damn.
Right.
Wow.
I thought I heard 1,250.
Well
Okay.
then. Yeah, most of us plebs over here got 100 gold for $5 where it's normally 10.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, that's the offer I got, and obviously I took it. But I'm sitting here thinking, one of the guys that got it was Ewok. Got the offer, and of course he complained that he was broke, that he couldn't buy it. But that's the kind of offer. If it's a coin offer, it should be offered to everybody in the game at the same time. Whether they take advantage of it or not is their deal.
That's the same, but see, that's the same thing that they do with like customer service, where like I know a guy that there are some days he blows there's some months that he blows $100, and there's some months he blows 20, right? And every time he sends in a ticket, and we have sent in the exact same ticket, he'll get 200 coins, and I'll get like 40 coins or a pat on the back going, "Oh, we're sorry." I mean, no lie. Like I've seen 200 coins, and I get nothing.
Yeah,
and it's just I shake my head because I'm like, I don't coin that much.
No, I understand. But that's what I'm saying. That part of the game should be fair. Now, if you want to offer somebody 5 Apollos or whatever, that's fine. Offer that away. But any type of a coin offer should be made to every player at the same time.
But then it's nice, but I think that the feel of the exclusivity of so few people were offered this deal to save $100, and you probably have to be a person that would normally spend $100 on the game in large individual chunks to get the offer in the first place. But like, if you had the knowledge that because of your continued and substantial investment in the game, you got the ability to save $100 as opposed to other people who would only save 5 or 10, I think that would be a main driving force. It appeals to, I don't know if I want to say ego because I don't think that's the right word for it, but it makes you feel more special as a big spender than you would otherwise. Like your presence and money are more valuable.
There's always a downside to the way you're proposing it.
That's ego in the psychological sense. That was proper.
But there's also a downside because I am a coiner, and I'm highly pissed right now, and I'm thinking about skipping the whole damn thing and tell them they can take their boat and stick it up their ass.
I agree.
Because I am utterly pissed off about this. I could have finished the walls, or not the walls, but whatever the new thing's called, the channel defenses, okay, with what they're throwing out there with the extra 1,250 coins. Or I could have finished off my raids, or rages, excuse me. I could have done a lot of things. Yeah. Anyway. It's just frustrating as hell.
I agree.
What Kevin's saying, I think, is that he's disenfranchised by the slight.
Yeah, and what are they going to do to take care of it? They don't do shit about us. We're the backbone. We're the guys getting out here trying to help people with this. Nobody on this board is compensated, as far as I know, short of maybe having access to a few private servers or whatever. There is no compensation. And we're helping people, and I don't expect compensation. That's not what it's about. I'm just super frustrated that they don't have the foresight to see how their special offers are going to affect the people that they don't offer it to. Ewok, if he took advantage of it, he's already one of the biggest hitters in the game. He may not be the best hitter, but he's one of the biggest hitters. Okay, so why give him an advantage towards getting the courage that the rest of us don't have? And again, you have to buy it to get it. I'm willing to do it, Kixeye. If you're listening, send me the offer. I'll do it right now.
He's literally shoving money at you and saying, "Take my money."
Shut up and take my money.
Yep.
I mean, as an individual, if someone just offered me $100, I'd take it. Like, here, I have $100. Okay. Thank you, sir. I'd check it for counterfeit because.
Yeah. Make sure, just take it in Bitcoin instead.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, I knew that'd get a smile out of him.
I'm watching. I'm watching Mary's video here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out. So, Mary, do you got a mic? Is it working? I don't know if you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so you hit. It said 136, and then when you got out, you got nothing.
Yes, that's correct.
And did you
Okay.
kill him?
Yes.
No, he killed him. The only thing that I could think of, is that he had failed at the same time that you were hitting him. He had already hit somebody and failed, right? But that still should have given you something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you still only lose a minimal amount, right?
I
Yeah.
just had that same exact thing happen to me, and I went and double checked and went back to his base, and it still said that he's worth something to me.
Really?
That's terrifying.
And now he
I'm-
just hit me back, so I'm gonna hit him again and see if it gets any.
I'm wondering because you do generate over a bounty a minute. Oh, right, 1440.
Right. But Mary's thing was like it was 136 gain, right? So even if the guy lost in the other one, what do you lose if you completely fail? 10%?
20%?
If you completely fail?
Or no, if they kill your base, you lose 20%.
Right. I'm
If you kill
saying
the other, I think it's
right.
I
So
think it's
if he was
20%
worth-
either way.
If he was worth 136, right, he would have lost maybe what, a quarter of that if he had lost in someone else's base because you lose 10%. Or less.
I
than
think you
that,
lose.
less than a
I think you
quarter.
lose 20% as well.
I
The
still
only,
got it wrong.
the only way that would have happened is what you're describing, George, is if he hit 750 and hit the checkpoint and everything became secured at that
Yeah,
point.
that's
Well,
what I'm thinking.
That's true too. If he hit a checkpoint and it became secure while you were hitting him, you wouldn't have gotten anything. That's another one that could happen. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of and those things are outliers, right? But they can happen. I mean, just like some of the stuff that I come up with is outlier stuff. You know, there's gonna be something like that happening. The
But I've
catch
had
is
too
how
many
often is
I've
it
had too many
happening?
people mention that they're not getting bounty, and it's
His lifetime bounty isn't over 750 though. I looked.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
That's not good then. That's very bad. Very, very bad. Very
I
bad.
put it in forums too, so Rampage could see it.
I mean, because I did try, like, I spent some time before this, because I went through all those questions that we had on TFC, and I tried to answer as many of them as I could, and I think I got all of them but like 2. But I was trying to come up with with outlier issues, right? And I could come up with a couple of them, but I can't see that happening often, and especially if they haven't hit the banking system, right? The checkpoint. I mean, yeah, that's weird.
yeah. I just
I
had
can't
something.
explain that one.
Okay, so someone just hit me and failed. He died. It showed on my top left. It boosted my bounty by like 30, but
Right.
then like 10 seconds later or 5 seconds later, it went straight back down to what it was. And now on the leaderboard, it's showing me at how much it was at that second, but it's not that much. So I gained it, then lost it.
Okay, so I've got a question. I just logged into the game for the first time since I got home, and it says reactivate bounty. Why would it not say activate?
Can't
Because they just want to put it in for the first time, so in future times,
That's
be like
fine.
that. So
I mean, probably, yeah. But I mean, you can't opt out, so there's no. Whatever. I just saw a screenshot of a forum post from Rampage, I guess a few minutes ago. It's someone with more bounty than yeah. If someone hits a target you were trying for and wins before you can finish hitting, the bounty amount may not be the same because of the win-loss. You might get none, you might get more.
Yeah.
If you're looking for someone locator, it's a snapshot from the moment you press the locator button. So don't go get a sandwich and then attack the base because that might change everything.
Yeah, he's talking about outlier issues too, but that's, I mean, I can come up with those too. That the question is these aren't fitting in those parameters. So now what?
Yeah, something is definitely broken.
Everything is
Yeah.
on fire. I
It's
still
a
can't
failure.
fix it.
sort of what I was alluding to. I think at one point when we were talking last night, George, and some people didn't understand my point, but the fact that they needed to start this slowly, not have the big, the big blueprints that are potential. At least some of them, at least one of them appears to be a game changer.
Yeah.
For a system that hasn't been fully vetted at this point.
I mean, that's why this reminds me of the Dreadnought, the original Dreadnought release. I don't know.
So
it's I think a dry run would have been nice. They could have done it with I think Brian had said it. You could have done it with tokens or something, right? You could have done it with anything else, and do the first run. Do the dry run like that, so you could at least see what issues there are. Let us find some of the bugs, because there's gonna be, and then see who can come up with with ways to take advantage of the mechanics.
Yeah, and the exploits as well, the bugs, the exploits, everything that's out there, and we're seeing, they need to bring Orkin in to take care of what's been going on today.
I mean, the only thing I'm worried about right now is, this has taken up some of the time for bounty. This has kept people from engaging in bounty, right? And then what do you do? Like, say you get all the stuff fixed tonight or early tomorrow morning, right? And then people are kind of interested to do it again. What do you do for the people that have already been in it? Like, because if you give them extra bounty for dealing with it, then okay, that's great. But then what happens when you come in after that because you were waiting to start because there was issues? I mean, it's just a bloody mess right now. I don't know if they're in a catch-22 where they're screwed no matter what the hell they decide now. So
yeah, and also,
well, it's the same thing we've been talking about for months, George. They release this shit totally unprepared, and they expect us to fix it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's the same thing. Broken boats, broken mechanics, broken everything. Everything they release, with the exception, and I'll say it again, of the Skyfires, has been broken.
The Phoenixes are pretty good too.
But yeah, there's but
I mean, but here's the thing, Kev. Like, a lot of things that come up that get broken, are broken because people are trying to break them. Okay, I mean, there are a lot of things that come out that only get caught because we like to try and find that kind of stuff and break them. There are some stuff like today's release that, those. I mean, look, they did how many days? They delayed it, what, 3 days, right? Why don't they do a staggered release? Do the stuff on Tuesday, do the stuff that goes in the retro lab, right? On Wednesday, do the whatchamacallit, the gate system or whatever the hell that crap is, right? I mean, do it in staggered steps even, because then it's easier, one, for people to debug it, right? And two, it's not going to impact as many people all at once.
Yeah, we brought that. Yeah, I brought that up earlier. Yeah, because of the stuff that was broken today, you could have two 98-year-old nuns break all the stuff that's been broken today. I mean, it wasn't. It was just broken. I mean, there was nothing that players did to do this. So
analogy game on point.
So,
I mean, like I've said before, I think this damn thing has a lot of potential if they play it right, and that's the catch. I mean, the FAT did too, but they just kept on pushing the wrong way with it. They should have. There was a lot of things they could have done to make that still fun and viable, and they decided not to. And I just hope that they follow the path that actually will let them take advantage of something and get this to blossom into what the potential is, because it does have potential. I just don't know that they're gonna follow the right path.
And with all these,
I'm worried.
I mean, Gustavo says bounty's not good for non-coiner people, and yeah, it's probably somewhat intentional that it's not great for non-coiner people, but also with the fact that how broken things are. I don't think Kixeye is getting the data that they want on player reaction to this whole new idea that they're creating, because the players aren't getting the proper feedback on the way this is working. And so it's sort of a lose-lose for them at this point, because they're not even getting the data on how to improve the way it's supposed to work because of all the all these other issues that are popping up.
Yeah.
They're
What
not
do
getting-
what do
Go
you
ahead.
do when your entire data set has caught fire?
Yeah, they're. I
You-
stop it and start it over.
You whip it out and put it out.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would, if the points aren't actually counting for people, I might just pull the plug and say, "Sorry, folks, we'll do this. Here's here's 3 2-day build tokens for everybody that participated, and we will try this again soon."
So bounty is where everything is made up and the points don't matter.
I decided before this came out that I will not participate, and I'm glad I have not, and I will not participate. And I think I hope that the majority of the Battle Power players just stay clear of this, because it's hopeless, and it's I cannot see the point in dividing the gap much more than they already have. So yeah, that's my decision. I will not participate, and I really hope that most people won't, so it can backfire to Kixeye, and they can realize that it was just a shitty idea.
I feel like their main metric is not necessarily going to be participation in terms of number or percent of players, but coins spent over the event and by people that are in the event, and they'll have that number for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good point where you say that, Brian. You say event, because in a way, for me, it feels like an event. You know, if you participate, you can get some prizes, and then you're back to all the PvE that we already have. So they can call it PvP, but I feel in a way it's just PvE, because if you participate, if you spend enough coin, you can get a good prize and whatnot. So it's just the same as the TLC, the Forsaken Mission, the raid they have every month. It's the same.
I don't know, because the raid targets are, for the most part, static and very similar.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's videos and you can understand the mechanics. With hitting bases, every base is different, and yeah, some bases are super easy, but some bases require a vastly different setup, and a fleet that works in base A may not work in base B. It's a whole nother level, and you got to have a real deep tech depth to even give it a shot. And I wish I could have my stuff finished so that I could. Well, I also wish that I could use tokens, period, so that I could use tokens to build Muddle Inquisitors to go dunk some people because they still didn't fix that part where they should have fixed the Muddle Missile. And then they made something stronger and haven't given us corrosive plates.
Yeah, true.
Has anybody
Tempted to
figured
have
out why the Justice doesn't work with the Inquisitors with the Muddles, but it works fantastic with the Mudgluts? I'm just curious, because I like...
Are the the damage percentages shouldn't be high enough to break the deflection of a Justice, because the Justice has one job and that's it. That is its job, is to stop Mud Gluts, and by extension, you'd think Muddle Inquisitors. But it's not like...
One would presume yes.
Yeah, like that's why it's there. That's its job. But I haven't calculated the percentages for corrosive damage and what part's corrosive and what part's not. But if it breaks the deflection, that means you're doing over what? About 5 times the damage, maybe 6 times? And that's a problem.
I'm talking about the thorns. I mean, the thorns should be hurting it just like it hurts the Mudgluts.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
because
saying?
it's not...
That's the
it's
part
not,
that I...
Yeah, there's no way to defend against them. It should be the same for both fleets.
Yes, because it's a pass-through damage. It's just like plasma. There's no mitigating it. However, it doesn't work the same when the Inquisitors are doing it as when the Mudgluts are doing it. And I mean, like, there's all these little things, and they're not being addressed, right? We don't have an avenue to address them, because it certainly doesn't work going onto the forums.
And I had hoped that I could put up a Justice now and just have it be a speed bump, but apparently not. Oh well.
Is there supposed to be some symbol on my base that I can see that says I'm a part of Bounty?
A yellowish diamond, I think it is.
Allegedly, yes.
Let me go and check.
There's not one by my base.
Outside.
Let me go and check, because mine was... It's where the orange pumpkin is, but I
Mine's
think
a
it
yellow
was like...
circle.
Yeah,
Something like
mine's
that.
nothing.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
Well, that's probably good for you because they might not see from a quick glance that you're in bounty.
I wonder if I
Maybe
should
if it's if you're
refresh.
Or even what Mary's describing, where it seems that
So I just checked the one that Mary had posted up, right? Because the CM said that it looked like he wasn't part of bounty, right? So first off, actually hold on because I want to actually get this passed on to him right now. The guy has a tower activated, and the tower covers the bounty symbol.
that's an interesting workaround.
You have to zoom in, and you can
Well,
see.
then.
You can see it does stick out. It does stick out a little bit on the left, but if you're zoomed out, or if you scroll out and you do the control zoom, so you're zoomed out, it actually covers it up.
Yeah, I got mine covering up mine.
That's interesting. Yes.
But you can still.
Begins.
It's still better just to check the leaderboard for someone that's close to yours than scroll on the map.
Yep, there's absolutely not a signal outside my base that says "come hit me."
Rum, are you in a bubble?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
once you start,
I don't have one, and I thought it maybe is because I was in a bubble. But if you don't have one,
Send me. Hey,
Well
Rum,
then.
send me your coordinates. I'll check on mine after I refresh.
I'm not in 450 anymore. I moved back to 217.
You
I can
ass.
check.
You want my
we're
cords?
good. Not
Yeah,
in my.
Oh, now I'll
bubble.
give it to everybody online.
No, just
Hey, come hit me.
just post them in this chat.
numbers,
I-
numbers, numbers. Yes.
I was happy
Yeah,
that
would-
Rum couldn't hit me, but then I realized I'd probably
can.
get wrecked. Yeah, you can't. You're not in my world, but that doesn't matter because I'm probably going to get wrecked anyways.
He'll move and follow you there.
Yeah, they ought to make it to where you can jump whenever the heck you want to now.
You can.
No, I even if I just jumped last night, I can jump again.
Oh, you jumped yesterday.
Yeah.
We can go play Overwatch.
Lord.
Well, I wait for my
Alrighty.
duck to
Anybody
pick up this
interested in
occasion.
talking about the blueprints, or I should get another beer?
I am interested in discussing the blueprints, namely the
Crap.
hull and the weapon. I mean, the hull is, it's meant to stop everything that we're afraid of now. It stops your rages, it stops your prides, it stops your mudgluts, it stops your muddle inquisitors, slices, dices, florax, dessert toppings, sure, whatever.
It stops their damage, but it doesn't stop the damage of any sort of remote targeting mortars.
Yeah, it's got two, pretty substantial weaknesses. There's no explosive, there's no ballistic. The good news mostly with ballistic is that first off, it's splash. You have splash damage reduction to counteract that, the same way you do with mortars. And if you have a targeted siege weapon, your ship damage is crap. So that's a good sign. There's explosive plates out, and that's something you can use for explosions. Do they have 4, 5, and 6 ballistic? I don't remember off the top of my head. But there's things you can do to kind of shore up its weaknesses, and its strengths are sufficient now such that you'll be able to deal with anything that is currently in the meta, let's say. So that's good there. 20% range creep. Fucking stop it, you fucking idiots. What the fuck? Why did you fucking do this? Oh my fucking god. Why did you range creep? Why?
Well,
Why
I think
did you-
they did it. I think they did it for the launcher. I don't think they did it for.
No, that's radioactive. That's everything.
Yeah. Well, I think they were thinking about how are we going to make this launcher better, and then they forgot. Okay, that it works in thrower.
Why is it not a specific stat called launcher range? They make scattergun range, for specific weapon types. And I understand, like, in theory, if I were to give a range bonus or range benefit to one side of attack or defense, it'd be defense. But that's what the turrets are for. The ships don't need it.
No, I disagree. The turrets are crap. So they do need the range increase on the boats. And we were just talking about that last night or at a different show, that your base turrets do nothing. They're just there to get killed.
Yeah.
Give the other guy
Give them a couple of points so that you can offset the isometric projection of the ship's hitbox versus the other hitbox, and how you can appear to hit that executioner on the left side of a 113 without your circle hovering over it. But, you know, just things like that. I can sort of see that okay. But the thing is, the longest range you have in an attack currently is 106, I think, is the libs with their buff. And the Harlock's Alpha, you have, what, 108, 109. Like, that's as far as I'm willing to go. These have 116 if you use a thrower and the polonium accelerator. And they have, I think, 114 if you don't. 94x 1.2. Dang it.
Oh, wow.
So that's 112.8. Yeah, so it's just you're 7 range over, and it's a little annoying. If you want to, like, Rum, you do have a point, but that's something that needs to be fixed with the deflections and the damages and the base damages of these turrets. We'll talk about it later when we get into the concussive thing, but I did the math on that, and I'm not happy with that either.
You know, Brian, you do a lot of math, and you know, how complicated is this game heading to? You know, it's so many variables now, and it's really getting really hard to caught up with all the different things they throw into the game. You know, it's a game. It's not a mathematical equation that you have to sit down and, you know, it's supposed to be fun. And when you have so many complicated things interfering to the game, so many variables that they are adding and adding and adding, it's being quite impossible to stay current for an ordinary guy.
I mean, well, it's usually solved in bigger games like World of Warcraft, etc. They'll have kind of optimal strats and builds, and they'll explain it because their community is so much larger, and B, I would assume that Blizzard is a little more transparent with their numbers and workings of their systems than Kixeye is. Or if you ask Blizzard, you'll be able to get a more definite answer typically than Kixeye provides. And I mean, you know, someone has to do the math in the first place, and that's constant throughout all of these. And some nights it's me, and that's fine. I mean, I'm a counting major for a reason. I love numbers. The thing is, it becomes a problem to me when I can ascertain through a cursory glance that Kix doesn't do their homework, the people that make it. I mean, I'm going to have my flag in the territory of monoliths till the day I die, and I'm going to take credit for that more than I probably deserve, but I don't care. I'm going to take it. But this, I mean, we'll see later on. It just feels like they didn't actually test it, or maybe they're working under different assumptions than I am. They're not assuming a whole rage fleet, or they're assuming a specific setup, but it doesn't feel like they've done even the most basic of their homework. And some nights someone needs to call them out on that too. It's just, it's hard, but it's not as hard as people make it out to be. I think people just hate numbers. It's still there. Like, the math is still there and you can do it. And Ren put out a fantastic video about splash damage reduction, turret defense, normal deflection, etc. And it's a great video, but it's half an hour. And I looked through it and I thought, yes, this is like, I learned stuff from that video and it's great. But I think a lot of people aren't going to tune in because it's just not for them, and they just want to hear the conclusion, and that's fine. But there's a lot of things that you can come up with, and there's a lot of math that you can do.
Yeah, but you know, the point in getting so in a way complicated, I really don't see that because, as I said, the game having fun. You know, back in the days we got the MXC fleet and whatnot, and you have one prep fleet with the assault missile to take out stuff, and then you went in with a siege missile, and actually you can use tactics and you can actually beat a base. But now today, I think it's really become very much more complicated, and still you can build a rage and you can click the end of base and you can kill most of the bases. And I don't see the mechanics and or what they are in a way looking for, because either way, if you see it's complicated or not, if you have the right fleet or you have a coin, you can kill a base. Or are you a more you think through and maybe you can figure out a way to kill a base and you actually have to use skills. And that was one of the points Kicks made over a year ago. They said that they changed all the turrets, all the fleets you had in, you have built so many fleets. They said that, okay, all the stuff you have now, that's not useful. We have to wait for the new Conqueror hull, because they did not want the way the game was. They said that they will not have that you can just click at the end of the base and kill a base. But that's where we are now. They release fleet that you can kill. You can click at the end of the base and you will succeed if you coin it.
Well, so here's the thing. There's kind of two things. One, the defenses aren't there for the rage yet, and two, when we brought out complex feats, people complained about the complexity. So, what do you want?
I don't think it was the complexity. I don't think it was the complexity by itself. I think it was the lack of information associated with the complexity. There wasn't the metadata in order to figure some of the stuff out.
There was a lot of people complaining about the complexity of those hulls, especially the ores, right? And part of the whole idea behind that was so you didn't have a click at the back of the base. I mean, that is what they wanted to do, is
but nobody uses the Voltron. Voltron's gone away. Everybody's just using the Inquisitor with the Muddle Missile. And does anything work?
Liberator fleets. I still see some Liberator fleets. I have seen someone test out one of my theories for an oppressor use, and it seems to work pretty damn good. So, I mean, it's
Okay. Well, should we talk about the courage, or have we talked enough about it? I mean, with this radioactive range of +20, you add the special on, and you get those throwers out to a little over 116, which is, they can be pretty brutal, especially when you add in these radioactive damage and reload buffs. They can blow some stuff up. As we even saw with just the Habs can do it. And they don't have all of this going on.
Yeah, it's I swore enough at the range creep, but it's a very strong hull, to be sure. It has weaknesses, and you can sort of build around that with the armor and splash damage reduction if you wish. So it's it's fine. Just whew.
Yeah, I mean, but what I was talking about before is yeah, and also that when you blow up, it's got a 92, anything that's pretty much in range, 92 range. We don't know the minimum splash, the fall off associated with it, but that it's doing 86,000 radioactive damage when it dies. So it's it falls in line with the retribution as far as that mechanism goes. As far as the big death weapon that's gonna kill everything. So I don't know. Should we go to the next one?
I have one question.
Sure.
When you see at the defense, evade bonus minus 160%, why? What is the thought behind that? Because if you are minus 160%, there's no way you can do anything with that anyways.
Yeah, you got that.
But that's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, as opposed to making it, as opposed to a defense handicap, I guess they could put an evade handicap of 100% on there. I mean, even at negative 160, you can probably get it to like 12 if you tried real hard. I haven't played around with that. But even at negative 160, because the way the numbers work, It may seem completely insurmountable, but yeah, you could get some very probably. I haven't done, like I said, I haven't run the numbers, but you can get some very low evade, low positive evade. But that's the reason they're doing it, is to prevent you from adding evade to this. The Insurrection launcher. Yeah. I mean, it's better than the oh, what's the other one? The last one.
The Squall.
Damn it.
Yeah.
The Cyclone
No, not the
launcher?
Squall. No, I don't compare it to
The
the Squall.
Cyclone?
Compared to the one before that.
The Cyclone launcher?
Cyclone, yeah. It's a new Cyclone.
Yeah. I like
It's
this one.
More likely to bypass deflection.
Really?
I'm not sure that I love it, but why don't we let George go first on why he likes it? You know, and she's part of an insurrection. You know, she's throwing. But you do like it?
I mean, I like it. It has, I think it has some potential on certain hulls, and just because that it's a multi-shot of 2, right? I mean, if you're starting off at what, 6,280? No, 200 and what?
90.
Yeah, thank you. So on some hulls, like, I mean, even this might actually be good on bloody retributions, for crying out loud, if you got the Zoe, right? And then if you add a multi-shot buff of 2 more, you're doubling the damage from that simple, like, you know, your gain is so much more than some of the other ones that have multi-shots of 3 and 5.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing that I don't like about this blueprint all by itself, and it's something that I've complained about, I'm not even sure how many times, the shockwave. It's still, we don't know the stacks required to get it. If the stacks it's 30, this might be a very good weapon. If the stacks are 120 or 120, you know, it lessens the value of the weapon. There's very, you know, missiles are one of the few where pretty much all the stats are included besides projectile speed, and we know they're eventually going to hit because they're missiles. But mortars, we don't know their projectile speed, so are they going to hit a moving target? Minimum splash, if you miss by a little bit, how much damage are you going to do? You know, all the radioactive weapons don't include the stack number. Ballistics, we don't know until we build it. Is it dumbfire or not? Maybe, maybe not. It may show an accuracy of 100, but some of them, even though they don't have splash.
Well, this one doesn't have a spread either. Usually they would have a spread or a splash if it's dumbfire. So I think this is straight up accuracy based.
I'm talking. I was talking about ballistic at that point.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was talking about ballistic. I was just drawing the whole comparison with all of them, that we don't have, you know, we don't have all the information. The rockets, we don't have the minimum splash number. We don't have the projectile speed numbers, you know, like the mortar. That there's just a couple more lines that we need on these blueprints in order to make the decision. A, do I want to buy it? B, do I want to build it? Or do I want to buy it out of fear that it's going to be really good? And then in
well, that's always a,
you know, three days somebody's going to coin it and go, oh, that does really well.
Right.
But I couldn't tell from looking at the blueprint.
I do want to speak to one of the things that you said, because in the past, what they've generally responded, and I'm talking like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, right? When we wanted more information on the print, they're like, oh, you know, it's part of the game, you got to figure it out and blah, blah. Here's the problem now. The game has become so complex, okay, that, I mean, I'm like, there are days I have problems remembering all the crap that's available to me when I'm trying to figure out builds, right? That's a bad sign. You know, if it's so complicated and complex now, and we're actually spending the time to try and figure these things out, you know, yeah, in the past you might have been like, okay, you guys got to figure it out and, you know, do some testing, this and that. Now it's to the point where, look, you've made shipyard time so, like, not expensive, but I mean, it's such a priority now, right? There's so much pressure on the shipyard and getting your stuff out, and the 3-month raid cycles, and, you know, the new weapons that come out, for the last one. I mean, we need this information. Like it's gotten to this point where we need the information. And if you don't want to put it in the game, right? If you don't want to stick it in the game in a tooltip, just open up a forum that's closed to everybody to post, but where Kicksat can go in and actually put all of the information for a blueprint in, right? So you know what? If you really are interested in getting the information, you can go to the forum, you can get the information. It's right there, and it's provided by Kicksat, right? That way the blueprints can be, smaller, simplified, and all that other stuff, but there's still a place to go and get the information officially. That would be fantastic. Instead of trying, because I know that there's so much crap in the blueprints are going to end up being like 3 pages long, right? And we don't want that. But they have an official forum. Use it.
Or at least make the, like the shockwave consistent, because it varies. It's not the same. So, yeah, we can't.
The stacks?
The stacks required to get the shockwave.
Yeah, the stacks are different. Yeah, the stacks are different on different things. Yeah. And I mean, if it wasn't a global amount, right? If everything wasn't just 120, then I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. If everything were a global amount and everything was like 120 for a full stack to produce a shockwave, then you know what? Yeah, maybe you can go, okay, well, we're going to leave it off. But that's not the case, right? And then there are other ones that have a 2-tiered system where it's 60, you get that radioactive debuff, and then at the 120, you get the shockwave. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and also the extra complication with the launchers is that, I mean, previously there were certain kinds of launchers that would stack together. Now,
well, they were
we don't know.
But I think they were intended to, but they never did, right? Unless you're talking about the S and the
the cryos versus they kept coming out with different launcher types,
right?
And they don't all stack together, and we don't have that bit of information. Like, okay, so if I use the phlogiston and the Insurrection launcher, and these all stack together,
that would be fantastic. Yeah, you're talking about classes of launchers, or at least stacks, classes of stacks,
or at least make them all one. Yeah, make them all one class. I mean, that would simplify things, and nobody's gonna, I mean, who's gonna bring out the antipode? If the antipode's stacked with this, but we don't even.
Yeah, we don't know.
My guess it doesn't, but yeah, we don't know that.
I mean, even if we knew like the Flogenstein or whatever the hell it is, the Booga one, stacks with any of them, that would be fantastic, because then you can, craft a defense around that idea, right? But the thing is, if we don't know, if we're in the dark, it's really difficult to try and play a game this complicated without getting very frustrated, right?
Yeah, and also one thing that's maybe just not a minor thing or a big thing, but I'm from Norway, and English is
I would never have guessed that.
and English is my second language. I learned at school to communicate, but we have Germans, we have Spanish. This is a game worldwide from all nations, and actually. And I have problem understanding all the technical English. If it was written in Norwegian, okay, it's no problem to understand everything. But there are many things here that are really, really difficult for me to understand, because it's not my ordinary English. I learned to communicate and I can speak like I do now, but to understand all the technical stuff
I tell you, and the thing is
you could have been born in Harvard. You could have been born in Harvard, and you're not going to understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah, they screwed this up
sometimes. But no, I understand. Look, I understand what he's saying is that if English is not your second language and you're trying to get some of the information like from the blog, right? Because there's a lot of Greeks that can go and read the blog, right? And right? They will ask me, like, they'll send me and ask me in Greek, right? What the hell does that mean? And then I struggle, because going the other way, I'm like, I grew up and I'm pretty fluent in Greek, but there are times that there are things that I can't even express into the other language knowing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's when someone's coming over with English as a second language, the game has gotten that complex that sometimes it's really difficult for them to understand just the basic mechanics because of the way that we have to explain it.
And the problem is for someone whose English is his first and only language, they screw up English too a lot. They use the same words for different things. There are grammatical errors in their releases, and sometimes it's not very important, but duplicate or cap of 5. What does that even mean now?
I want an answer for that. I still want an answer for that.
It's the same thing that means two vastly different things. It's very important when we're talking about building these ships and fleets. And by the way, okay, so I don't like the Insurrection launcher, and here's why. With the Polonium Thrower, you get additional damage specific. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You get with the Polonium Accelerator. Huh?
I was talking to Jeff. I caught it. You're a dick.
Okay. I'll have to listen back then.
Yeah, me too.
So with the
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, with the Polonium Accelerator, you get additional range and damage specifically for throwers that I haven't done the math on the thrower damage per se, but the thrower range will boost you up, so you'll have a longer range with throwers than you will with this launcher. Even on the Courage, the 6250 damage versus the 15,000 deflection that your opponents are likely to run with, that's difficult too. You need them on Rets with the Zoes or Zoe's Ret to even have a shot. And it's an accuracy-based weapon, and even with the special that we're about to see in a little bit, your accuracy can get a little over 100. So, and on offense, they're going to have a speed system and an agility 3 at minimum. So they're going to have, I want to say, about 50% of it or so, something like that, maybe 45%. So would you rather have a weapon that misses half the time or hits most of the time but deals half damage? They're about equivalent from a mathematical standpoint because there's the big splash damage reduction on the Rages, assuming they're running a full fleet. So it's not that much better. Even on defense and even in its best case, I did an extra column of having it on a Rage, and doing its 10x, and you've got all the stacks and this and that, and the damage per volley versus ships comes out to be a little less, and the damage per single shot is higher, yes, and that's its job, but I don't think it's higher enough to matter, assuming they're running significant rad deflection, which they usually are. And again, sometimes you'll just miss and you won't even get the minimum pass through the radio plates for it. So I don't care that I'm not getting this weapon.
Okay. Yeah, it is interesting that they put the multi-shot so low so that any of those specials are going to... uh-oh. What have the gimps got out? That it actually, any of the multi-shot specials that have come out in a while will actually double the actual damage of the weapon, but not deal with the deflection damage. And also doubles the ability to get to the stacks required for a shockwave. So, you keeping the gimps in line, Brian?
If I ignore you, maybe you'll go away. But you never do.
I see.
What's Brian doing with the gimps?
I don't know. Somebody got out of one of his closets, so
Oh.
Oh, yeah. You got to be watching the right screen. I'm sorry. The fission fuel node, which is supposed to be paired with the launcher we just saw. I have atomic focus. I've included them both at the same rank of 7 because that's what I had for my, my research on that. Yeah.
That's not what we got in that's not the numbers I got in the shipyard right now.
Well, do you have what's your rank?
I will look for a retro category.
Does it have
Yeah,
a retro?
it's in the retro lab with the atomic focus and the what's the other one that gives you all the splash and radioactive damage? We use it a lot. Hello.
Sorry?
I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm
Narrow-
sure it's in there somewhere. I
not
just
even-
don't know where.
It's in the same category. It's radioactive, whatever. I just can't because I'm screen sharing. I can't go.
The viscosity.
Oh, radioactive systems. Oh,
regulator.
hey.
Yeah, viscosity regulator. Yeah, that's the other one.
Oh, that's right. It's one of the new ones. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because they've added a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff is in the retro lab at this point, which is a good thing. Some of it is single category, single weapon, but yeah, a lot of the new stuff has been included. So it will get nastier with upgrades. But yeah, that weight difference for that's I don't know. Is that worth it? I don't see it being worth it.
Not for. I mean, the Courage has 6 weapon slots, so you're not gaining a lot more weapon weight
Mm-hmm.
because there's less weight on weapons to begin with. But I don't know about that.
The Retribution also only has like 4 weapon slots, so
Yeah.
Well, non-heavy, yeah.
The Enforcer got 10 though.
The Enforcer
Yeah, nice.
got 12 though.
Oh, 12. Okay, it's got even more. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
go.
but it only has 4 specials.
Well, whatever.
And
So he would use this one though.
interception system, this thing, emission generator, agility. Bang. Don't need anything else. Let's go.
The Axiom chain gun, which is the next step for the Maxim chain gun. It's much better at overcoming deflection than the Maxim. The main difference is the Maxim has a what did they call it? A wind up mechanism where it really increases the reload time significantly. The Axiom doesn't have that, or at least as far as we know, it doesn't show
Despite it saying on that flavor text that it does.
It's down more.
Is it down? Okay. I didn't see it when I first looked, but I'll scroll down because that's really important.
This is all I saw.
4,900%.
What?
The wind up is 4,900%.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
All right.
All right.
Where did
Let me look
you
at this.
get this information?
I clicked on
Yeah, there's a special ability tab. It's
Okay.
very
Oh,
bottom.
it just wasn't in the briefing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't in the briefing.
It was.
You
No,
just click
Yeah, it
on the
was not.
store.
Okay.
You could get I think you could get the stats from the store.
Yeah, you can. That's
Okay,
how I got them.
Yeah. Okay.
Special abilities, yeah, it does.
So this looks like it's just the next step. And so it has a salvo of 5. So it's doing without any other specials, it's doing 10,000. 100.
Yeah, 10.2 was shot. And I looked. I assume the auras on Rage's stack, if they've got a full fleet of 5, are going to have 50% turret defense, 50% splash reduction, and 7,500 concussive deflection, which means, working backwards, you're going to need about 30,000 per shot to overcome their deflection. And this starts at 10,200, so you need to triple this gun's damage. And I don't think you can do that.
Well placed. The turret's only going to do 3,000 per salvo.
Define well placed.
With enough fire support and with the right turret special on the turret.
I mean, you get 60% from the one thing, the concussive thingy. So you're at 13,000. You have to get another 17,000. Good luck. I mean, after you kill one, it's going to get a lot easier, actually. Over 0.6, 20,000 a shot. What I was able to estimate after you
Really?
kill one of them.
Oh my god, make it.
That you might be able to do quite easily.
You got to
I mean,
count
it's-
the turret fence too.
Well, I did 6,000 doubled because there's four auras, right? So 6,000 doubled is 12,000, and after the reduction of 40% because you have 4 splash damage reduction auras, so you're taking 6/10 of that damage. So you divide the 12,000 by 0.6 and you come up with 20,000.
I thought it was 5 auras.
Well, assuming you've killed the ship off. With
Oh.
5 auras, it's 30,000. With 4 auras, I think it's 20,000. Please check. But I think that's what it is. And that you can do. It's just not the be-all end-all as we had so hoped. The unfortunate thing, I think, is that a lot of these other ships have a lot of splash damage reduction, high concussive deflection, or both. So, yeah. It's not good against the meta, except for Rages. Actually, it's kind of good. What about Inquisitors? Maybe it's good against Inquisitors. I don't remember what all these freaking hulls have.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've been out searching for about the last 10 or 15 minutes for somebody with them nifty little symbols on there. And everybody I see with that nifty little symbol is in a bubble.
Yeah.
And the second part of that equation is there are very, very few of those symbols out there.
I've been attacked. Let's see. This is the 1, 2, 3.
I don't think a lot of people are participating.
This is the 5th person.
Isn't the locator set up to show
And
you
it just
the
started as
movement
well.
bubbles?
The locator showed me 2 guys in my sector and nobody outside of the sector.
Yeah, the best way to find medals is look at the leaderboard for your world.
Oh, there you go.
But I mean, that could be off depending. I don't know, because it's not completely accurate. But that's better than your locator, because it only goes a few sectors each way. Almost at the first checkpoint.
And I have to have 750 in order to bank it, right?
Yeah, okay. It just did it again to me. I just defeated a fleet, and I gained some, and then 5 seconds later, I lost it. The bounty.
The thing I don't like about the bounty, why I'm not participating, is I don't like the fact that they should have reduced the build time overall. I mean, not the build time, the repair time of your base overall, and reduce the repair time of your guard significantly, so that your base has a fighting chance for every single, in every single ship that comes in, every single attack that comes in. If not, you're gonna have to coin everything back. And that's even with half off. It's probably $8 per, and that happens every 3 hours at the max.
I got 100% and I got 9 coins would have been my repair from when I died. Live renovation is happening on there, so you don't get a camera anymore.
Oh yeah, they reduced it, so it's like nine coins now. Just for that's for your whole base.
I think the idea is they took the most cost and they have that, and that is for everything.
Which is your launch pad.
Yeah, unless you sold the launch pads.
Which I think some people probably did for this.
That's
Just
a
for
pretty
reference.
that's a pretty hefty thing to not have.
Well, you can't use it once it's destroyed, so
Yeah.
All right. We have the concussive belt, which is the special for the Axiom. Seems like a decent special, decent weight. So, and this is at that mid-priced with the 1450. Is it me or is it just Brian that's losing?
I hear the same thing, kind of like a robot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything on this?
Nope.
No, it's just a regular special.
Yep.
Yeah, it is pretty special.
All right. A new topic: channel defenses.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
nice crashes with it.
I already
What?
have one.
Said nice that it acted like it was hit shortly after you built it.
No.
Yeah. I started building mine, and then once I went back into my base, it showed a 9-hour repair for 18 coins. I filed a ticket. They sent me coins and explained that it was built without any health. So that was the time to regenerate a million health points or a million armor. Even though it had appeared to be on the cycle to repair over 4 hours. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that, because it will be interesting if you put it at the front of your base. And, I guess 8 hours isn't, that's along with the towers and whatnot. But you need to, here's the build times. This is for the portal, which we just showed you. All you don't need to research it. You can just go to the build icon on the top right-hand side. How you build walls or whatnot. You do need 150,000 titanium and a decent amount of resources. And it takes basically 8 days to build. As we'll show later, the capabilities of what you can put on the portal. The Great Rampart is the only one that's available now. As you see, it's tier 4, so it's fairly low level. That takes 9 days to research. I don't know how long at this point it takes to put on. It's got 2.5 million in armor, and the portal has 1 million in armor. I'm not sure, that's not shown here. So everybody, the positioning of this, you really need to consider your bubble, because 3.5 million armor is very significant. In addition to the 2.5 million in armor, it's got all these defenses. The bottom right, I have no freaking idea what that's about. It's a special abilities with no range and no benefits. So I don't even know personally. I have no idea what that means. Anybody heard any more than I have as far as what that means?
I guess, is that for future? Because whenever they were talking about it yesterday on the Kicks video, they were saying like the sand traps and the barrier ones. So that's probably for once the sand traps come. That'll be. I don't know why they have it on there for this one, but
because this is on the Rampart. It's not on the portal.
Didn't they have a picture of when you level it up? It had actually, you could install a tactical module in there. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the. Let me get the pointer out. Oops, I guess not. There we go. Pointer out.
That's level 1.
This is the trap module, which can be the Great Rampart, which we just. Whoops. Getting a little lag here. The one with the arrow is the trap. And then it's also got 1 armor, 2 turret slots, and 1 tactical installation slot. The thing you may notice, you have the 2 turret slots, but you don't have the ability to add all the specials in that you would normally add in. So I haven't even thought through, what turrets least need, what turrets least need specials.
glacial. But I don't know what
Yeah,
else.
you only got one of those. So that's a thought. So it's yeah, and that's going to take a little time to go through everything and figure out what's best to be used without any other specials besides the tactical installation slot.
I don't even have the tactical installation slot.
Oh, yours is already built? I don't know. This is portal level 1.
Yeah, it's portal level 1. I have the same. I don't have the tactical installation slot. I used a 7-day build token.
Okay. Yeah, mine appeared to disappear. I don't know if I thought it was one night and spent it. I have no idea.
Do they have some restrictions on where you can place that?
Yeah, I was going to get into that.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
I don't. I think it's a little bit bugged at this point. This is where I started building mine. There needs to be, you know, what is it? Two squares of water,
Yeah.
and then land on either side. But it let me build with walls and turrets there, but I couldn't build it further south or to the right. It wouldn't let me build it there with nothing going on. So, and it only let me do it towards the center line of my base. It didn't let me do anything off to the side.
Well, that must be a standard then, because I tried to put it in the very opening of my base, which is exactly the width.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't let me do it there.
Yeah, it's very glitched.
I moved in about 4 land tiles or so where I have a turn. It wouldn't let me put it there. But then when I got almost to the center of the base, then that's the first place I could put it.
Okay.
And it's almost lines up with my outpost, kind of, sort of. But
yeah. I don't quite understand.
That's of no use because nobody knows where that's at, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't have an understand with the logic because it only let me put it 2 places in my base, and I thought it wouldn't let me put it here because it had all this stuff on either side.
Mm-hmm. Mine ended up the same way. There was one side had walls, and the other side was just bare land, and it did let me put it there. The other 2 locations were similar.
Yeah, and it wouldn't let me put it there when I had because I had walls down here, where you see where it's green now. Mm-hmm. I did have walls down there, and it wouldn't let me put it there until I moved the walls, even though it's not next to it. It's not encroaching on it. So, yeah, I think there's some issues as far as placement at this point.
Got to be something going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I found those issues as well.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go all the way to the end, and then I would try to put it in a specific spot. It wouldn't go there. It would go back to the original. I had to go into the base planner to try to get it there, and then had to remove all the walls and turrets around the area.
Yeah. Yeah, what I showed previously, I mean, I didn't put these walls back. These walls were here. These turrets were here. So, yeah, it's I couldn't figure out the logic of it.
You also have to research the rampart in the advanced lab.
Yeah, that's what we were.
I didn't use a token on mine because they'll both finish about the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was showing earlier.
You could put also put in an officer and reduce it by a day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was 10. Now it's 9.
Okay. All right. This is what happened when I was describing earlier, and this glitch has been fixed, where it took 8 hours and 57 minutes when I left the base and then came back. Even though I hadn't been attacked.
Yep.
And retrofit lab, which now works, and I haven't gone into much more of this because until less than an hour before the show, it actually wasn't in the retrofit lab. But I did glance through it real quick, and it looks like there's some cool stuff for all this. So here's all the weapons on the well, I forgot. I call it. I keep on changing this when they do this stuff from weapons because they leave it at names. I put it at turrets or weapons or whatnot. But yeah, here's everything that's impacted, and I'm sorry. I don't have the impacts of each one as far as whether it's a lot of them are their reload and damage or reload and splash. They all seem to help you out, but yeah, they actually were released too close to the start of the show. So, and they all appear to be 50,000 per level for 1 through 5, and which means that the next step is 60 and then 70 and whatnot. So
I don't know why they didn't just add most of the stuff to the stuff that's already there.
well, because they want you to spend the uranium and the time.
Mhm.
So, like we saw with what's the pyramid looking thing that we saw earlier?
I forgot I read the fusion something.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah, I forget what that one is. So, I think we're about. Yep, we're done with the slides. Whoops. Now, whoops. That was last couple weeks ago slides. We'll go back, and I guess I can end the slides. And
They fixed bounty now.
okay, how so?
I just gained a crap ton from base.
Oh, like it all caught up at once?
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
Mine didn't.
Well, I mean, it all caught up, but my total shows correctly now. It just isn't showing in the battle log yet.
Yeah. Oh, and just so y'all know, the next checkpoint is 1350.
Okay.
Just for anyone that would want to know.
Okay, and so our guesstimate is, we don't know yet, but so it basically appears to, well, I don't know if it's increments of close to 750, or it comes close to doubling each time. But do we have a guesstimate or any knowledge of whether that's total gained or total owned? Like if you lose something, if you lose and back and forth, and does that keep on increasing in that same manner, or does it reset after a day?
I don't know. You probably keep your bounty that you have. Like if you get almost all the way to a checkpoint and the next day comes, it'll probably reset back down. But you'll keep all that bounty points. So like if you're on the second level and have 1,000 already, and you go to the next day, it'll probably, I would think it would, but you don't know. It would just go to you would automatically get that 750 right whenever that day clicks in, and you'll have 250 that someone can take. But
okay, we will see tomorrow, I guess.
And also another issue, which I guess this is bad, but for whenever you're searching for targets after you hit that first checkpoint, even everyone is reset again. So you can attack the people with the 500 that just started.
Yeah, that was my that was our fear,
Well, if it awards it, it says it awards it, but if it does, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what they kept on writing in everything, that it's the amount of unsecured bounty that you own, and everybody thought there was going to be some, something in place for you to prevent you, the high levels from hitting the low levels. But yeah, if you keep on hitting that point, yeah, you can go back and hit, you can go back and hit low levels again. Yeah, I don't think that's probably the way they should have done that.
Yeah, agree.
So, well, the slides are over. We've gone for an hour and 45 minutes. I've posted the link to the Hangout in case anybody would like to join us. on the right-hand side. Does anybody? I know we're getting some new information from our correspondents that are part of Shitstorm 2017. Is there anything else that the correspondents would like to add as far as the progress of basically the fixes that are going on currently?
I got nothing.
Okay. Anything else?
Nothing here.
All right. Well, I guess we'll sign off for the evening. And again, anybody like to join us in the after show? The link is on the right-hand side. And have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Not everyone.